Take it away, Joel.
Good. Okay. Good afternoon and welcome to the third and final day of our business development workshops, which is all part of the 2024 BLDC Business Plan Competition presented by M&T Bank. This is our 14th annual competition, has been in planning since last year. Just to recap, our business plan competition has a $7,500 prize list made possible by the generous co-sponsorship of M&T Bank, with additional support from Saul Stearns and the Binghamton Oneonta Building Trades Council. Our competition pays $5,000 for the first place cash award, $2,000 for the second place, $500 for the third place from the Binghamton Local Development Corporation, plus another $5,000 in awards of services for the first place winner only, generously donated by Binghamton businesses and organizations. That includes accounting services from Davidson Fox, legal counsel courtesy of Coughlin and Gerhardt, the year membership in the Greater Binghamton Chamber of Commerce, sign creation services from 3i Graphics and Signs, website services courtesy of Freshie of Binghamton, branding services courtesy of IdeaCraft, a one-year membership in the Triple Cities Makerspace, and 3 months free co-working membership at the Kauffman Southern Tier Incubator. Again, thank you all for attending tonight's presentation. Our hope is that this seminar will give you tools, tips, connections, and inspiration to put together a great business plan that works, most importantly for you and for our community. After this week's presentations, our next milestone is April 3rd with the application and executive summary. You can find the application on the city website. It's a fillable PDF. If you have any questions, hey, we're a small office. Do not hesitate to give us a call. Also, please do not hesitate to contact the Small Business Development Center. They're located at the Kauffman Incubator. The SBDC is a partnership between the U.S. Small Business Administration and Binghamton University. They offer free and confidential counseling on putting together business plans. You can reach them at 607-777-4024. We'll post our speakers' presentations on the city website, as well as links for the video recording of tonight's presentations. Tonight, we're joined by a panel of experts, people who've not only won the business plan competition, but are living the dream of growing young businesses. First up, we have Jacob Kumpon, who was the winner of the 2021 BLDC Business Plan Competition and is co-founder and chief operating officer of Claw Industries, which turns landfill glass into a cement replacement for a concrete called Pantheon. Founded in 2019, Claw Industries won the 2021 Binghamton Business Plan Competition, purchased a production facility on Binghamton's east side. Jacob has used business plans, competitions, and grants to raise over $1.6 million in non-dilutive funding, including grants from the EPA, Department of Energy, and New York State. He grew up in Shenango Forks, is a SUNY Broome alumni, and holds a BS degree in mechanical engineering from Binghamton University. Laura Whitmore is our winner from 2022. She owns the Strategic Test Prep, a tutoring agency in downtown Binghamton. Her company's mission is to empower students to rewrite their futures by offering high-quality tutoring in SAT, ACT preparation. Following her success in the BLDC competition, Laura expanded her team to include 6 tutors, each of whom scored over 1,500 on the SAT. Wow. Laura also developed Preply, a mobile app designed for the new digital SAT, which has gained a considerable user base. In her effort to support students from various backgrounds, she hosts a YouTube channel that provides free educational content. This channel has helped increase her company's visibility nationally and internationally. Laura holds a degree in psychology from the University of Notre Dame and a dual degree in mathematics and adolescent education from SUNY Cortland. She's an active member of the Kauffman Incubator, the Chamber of Commerce, and the National Test Prep Association. Finally, we have Stephen Gonya, who was our last year's winner of the 2023 Business Plan Competition, owner of Electric Light Apparel, a startup Binghamton company that provides unique apparel products integrating flexible hybrid electronics with textiles to create wearable illuminated graphics. The product uses a thin, flexible micro LED array combined with textiles to selectively illuminate different sections of a graphic design to create lighted patches that can display company logos, organization emblems, and municipal insignias. The business expects to generate direct sales, custom designs for companies, organizations, and teams for advertising purposes, and lighted insignia for municipal first responders who value safety and visibility in low light conditions. Founder Stephen Gonya draws experience from a career with Lockheed Martin and PhD research at BU using the technology, FHE technology on military and industrial platforms. Thank you, Jacob, Laura, and Stephen, for joining us this evening. And I think perhaps what's in order here would be maybe if you guys want to talk a little bit about each of your businesses and how you got started and where things are headed at the moment. And then we can dive into the competition and your experience with the competition. So why don't we start with Jacob?
Laura, did you have a hard stop? Did you want to go first? Oh, okay. All right, yeah, I can go.
All right.
Yeah, so my name is Jacob Kumpon. After winning the competition, we ended up locating here in the city of Binghamton. We bought a facility on the east side. And now we're up to a team of 5. So we don't have any investors in the company, as Joel mentioned. We've done everything non-dilutive. We've raised over just over 1.6 million. And business plan competitions were a very big part of the early stage of that, especially the Binghamton one, as well as other collegiate business plan competitions. If you're in college, there's a lot of opportunities for other business plan competitions as well. And winning the business plan competitions like this one allowed us to get a foot in the door for grant funding. That's really what got us going down the grant road. So one of the things is after we go through introductions, I can brief run through one of the more recent pitch competitions we did in slideshows and kind of go over how we format and think about making a presentation.
Okay. Stephen? You're muted, Stephen.
All right, that's better.
There we go.
Yeah, so I'm the winner of last year, Electric Light Apparel. So, you know, I wanted to transpose some technology that we developed at Lockheed Martin at Binghamton University, you know, without encroaching on any IP stuff and bring that into a commercial product. So it kind of involves really flexible, thin lighting schemes, you know, and I thought, well, we could light up the patches, logos. You got logos, you got brands, insignias and things like that that go on shirts or bags or backpacks, badges, emblems. You know, you can put some lights behind there and not really increase the thickness. And, you know, a little bit of microcontroller, you can add some movement to the lights. So it was a pretty neat technology. I was kind of early. I was a little unsure about entering the contest because I just had some prototypes and, you know, I was out, you know, still developing, you know, a finished product, but they liked the idea. You know, I got funded and now I'm kind of off and running. When we go back, I do have about 5 slides I'd like to show that are relevant to the business plan competition. So when we kind of go back around, I'll show those.
Okay, great. And Laura, looks boy, look at the professional microphone there. It looks like you're with this.
Yeah, you know, this old thing, I don't even really use it, to be honest. But hi guys, I'm Laura Whitmore. I'm very happy to be here today and excited for you all in this competition. I started strategic test prep in 2021 because a side gig became my purpose. So essentially, after I graduated college, I was in finance in New York, and the economy crashed, and one thing led to another, and I was in test prep and fell in love with it. So when I moved back up to this area, it was just a side hustle for me. I was working in different fields from advertising and marketing to I actually went back and got a second degree so I could teach. And teaching during COVID is a key motivator for wanting to be an entrepreneur, for
Right.
sure. So I would not recommend it to anyone. If you desire to teach during a pandemic, let's talk. We can reconsider that one. But just, it just grew organically. I was very fortunate. I had a lot of word of mouth. I put my students first and I gave it 110% with every student that I had. And I think that that resonated. But, when I did the business plan competition, I was thinking so small and I didn't realize it at the time because of course I want to serve my local community but I intended to just be in the local community and only do in-person tutoring. And this thing has just taken off. It's absolutely phenomenal. So, but I owe it all to, my springboard was this competition, to be honest with you. And now I get to work with students all over the world. And I have a tutor team that I get to mentor. And I'm just so fortunate and blessed to be doing what I'm doing. And so for everybody that is looking to pursue their own dreams of entrepreneurship, I'm just very excited for you because it's definitely the best decision I've ever made.
Great. Well, it sounds like you guys have maybe some presentations. Who will want to go first?
Joel, is that okay if I go first? I do not have a presentation.
Yep.
And I'm a presentation queen. Honestly, I didn't know we needed to have a presentation, so now I feel like a slacker. But I do have a hard stop, so there's just a few bullet points I have that I just wanted to share, I guess, with the people who are applying that were really helpful to me when I was in the competition. I would say a big thing for me and what I think contributed to my win in 2022 was I really showed how I could contribute to the community. Like I was very community centric, talking about, how I could help students from our various school districts. And I still do have that as a focus today. Like I have a couple SAT days set up with local schools coming up next month, and I'm doing it pro bono. So I really think that like if you can show how your business can benefit our community, that will be like integral to you getting the win. Another thing I would say is don't be afraid to ask for help, because I never wrote a business plan and it was very intimidating to me. My business plan was, I don't know, 50 pages. It was a monstrosity. But if you just take it one little chunk at a time, and, I asked people that I met in these workshops for help. Like I met Cheryl Fabrizi after a workshop, and I just reached out and connected with people and said, hey, can you help me with this? And that was huge, because if I had to do it all by myself, I don't know if I would have put together a winning business plan. I would also say be prepared. So your presentation is where you're going to shine, but you'll want to rehearse it in advance, at least a few times, because there's a time limit. And I remember in my presentation, I really cut it close and Joel was waving that card at me. I'm not resentful about that at all, Joel, but you might get that card waved at you. So you want to time it out, because I think, what do you have, Joel? 15 minutes?
Right.
Yeah, so that's really important. And along with being prepared, know your numbers. Like they're just projections though, so don't get caught up in the numbers, because I was like hemming and hawing over, oh my gosh, like what will I make 3 years from now? And you can't predict the future, but make them realistic and know them and be able to make a case for your numbers when you do your financial projections. I think we'll make X in year 3 because of this, but it's just wild to me. I almost want to pull out my business plan and take a look at it, because I guarantee you, like, I took a hard left. There's a lot of things that I thought I was doing in the plan, and the plan kind of morphs and changes into its own thing. Your plan will have a life of its own, but I think really those are just the big tips that I have. So with that, I'm going to pass.
Okay. And we'll pass to
Stephen, do you want to go ahead?
Okay. Stephen, you had some slides, you said, so. You're muted, Steve.
Sorry
Hey.
about that.
No problem.
So I do have some slides. I'm gonna try to share my screen.
Yep.
Let me see, there it is. I'm gonna share
We're
presentation mode.
started. There you are.
All right, so, I just have about 5 slides, but I just kind of want to talk about some of the things that helped me. Like this was the actual title slide that I used last year. I kind of developed it on my own, but basically, it introduces you and introduces the company and gets going. And I thought I put the logos there just to suck up to, the various organizations sponsoring it. So a few things that are pertinent to both the business plan and the presentation. Executive summary. So your executive summary basically summarizes your entire business plan in one paragraph. And I actually have a slide. There's a methodology to do that. But it sounds kind of intimidating, but you have one paragraph and it's like you read it and encapsulates everything. You want to include your business or product description, basically what is your business and product and who is your target market, who's your target customer. Show examples of your product or service, and pictures, imagery, even a video for the presentation is helpful. It's always nice to have pictures. People always like that, keeps their attention. Then you're going to go into the market strategy. How are you going to sell this? And I just kind of put some examples, retail, online, blah, blah, blah. And they have a section on business location. So the advantages of location, but I kind of use this as more of like the business structure. And you got to decide whether you're going to be a sole proprietorship or a partnership or an LLC or an S corp, a small corporation. Where do you want to be like in a year, 2 years, 3 years? And financial analysis. So you're going to do your financial assumptions. Where are you getting the money from? Startup expenses, your cost breakdown, like if you're selling a product, what's the cost breakdown if you're selling it for $50? How do you get to $50? And then, as Laura mentioned, your 3-year financial projection. And the 3 biggies here are income statement, which is basically your revenue versus expenses, cash flow statement, and balance sheet. And like most people, I didn't have much experience, so get help. And the person who helped me from the SBDC it was Liam McMahon. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but
Yep, that's right.
yeah, he was great. And he's helped a lot of people, entering this contest. And he basically will ask you questions. You got to do a little bit of homework, but he'll ask you questions. You answer them, with some numbers and everything. And he plugs it into his spreadsheet and he'll spit out all the graphs and tables and stuff you need for your business plan. So, get help for that. I tried to educate myself on college Google, but it only went so far. But the spreadsheet that Liam had was just great. I put this in because I actually had to teach this to some students. Like for an executive summary, there's a particular structure that goes into this. And you can think about it, each sentence. So you have your motivation. Why are you doing this business? The problem that you're trying to solve, your solution to that problem, your objectives for the business, for that solution. What do you want to do with it? Your strategy to meet your objectives, and then the significance of your business, your product, your service, to the overall eco structure. So, you kind of follow this. If you just follow this kind of methodology, it has everything the executive summary needs that everybody's looking for. And it's, if you just break it down one sentence at a time: motivation, problem, solution, objective, strategy, significance. You'll get there, and it will come together.
Wow, that's smart.
Yeah, and another thing that helped me, which is kind of neat, is something called an infographic, or some people call it a graphical abstract. But it's basically one picture, one image that people look at and they say, I got it. I understand what your business, what your product is. That's it. Ideally very little words or no words, just you look at it, you got it. you know, and this is the infographic kind of I put together, you know, with like an LED array, or that you can individually address LEDs, and you go through like a diffuser or filter, you know, as kind of a backlight for whatever your logo is. And I use kind of the heart in the I love New York, and you can put it on a clothing. So I kind of did this, you know, you go through a lot of modifications, and in hindsight, I probably put too many words in this. But it's kind of neat to kind of just sit down, you know, all right, this is my idea, this is my business. You know, I want one image, one graphic that people will look at and say, ah, I got it. I understand what you're doing, you know, without having to jibber jabber a lot of words. So, you know, it's kind of fun to do, to put together, and it really kind of helps, I think, in the long scheme. And this was like one of the first ones I made that I actually kind of sold to people. So I went to a conference, and it was a mix of a few organizations, NextFlex, who actually did flexible hybrid electronics. You know, NextFlex is next generation flexible electronics, though it sounds like Netflix. It's not. It's NetFlex. And then a semi organization, which is an electronics, and a FlexTech technology, which is another flexible. So, and then Binghamton University is who I was representing at this conference. So I kind of put the different logos together. This is a photograph of the actual badge itself that I put together. It was like a little badge on a lanyard. You know, they had everything. And this is what it looked like unlit, this kind of metal one. And then the bottom one is what it looked like when it was actually lit up with the backlights. And it was kind of hard to kind of get it. I have a little video here that we'll see if it works. Yeah, it basically kind of cycles through. It shows it kind of unlit, and then it lights up. So I have the rainbow and NextFlex, the little teardrop in semi, and the X and FlexTech, with a little bit of action going in the Flex to kind of attract attention. So that was kind of like my first really marketable kind of item. You know, working on a lot of other stuff, but I just kind of wanted to show that. All right, so, and then oh yeah, I threw this in here. You know, this is what Liam kind of gave. You know, in your presentation, they're going to be looking for your income statement, the revenue versus expenses, cash flow statement, balance sheet. And this is where Liam was great. You just give him all the information he asked for, and he spits these things out for you, and you cut and paste it right in your presentation. And it was great. It was, I couldn't have done it without his help. So this is kind of the things that you get out of it that, you know, will help you with your presentation.
Right.
And this is the last slide. And this is something I put together. I had to be a guest speaker for some college students on communication, importance of communication. There's one slide on oral presentations, which was part of the course for engineers. And, you know, so I just kind of go through this with some helpful hints, because, you know, oral presentation, it's a scary business, you know, getting up there and talking, you know, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of scariness. So I just kind of put 10 points to help with it. Number one, you know, right before you speak, if you just take a deep breath, just kind of settle yourself, zen yourself out. Just, it actually does help. It sounds so simple and stupid, but it actually does help. And something people always say, you know, don't read your slides, use your slides as talking point for your message. You know, you got to know your material. So you're talking to the audience, you're not talking to your slides. And in that vein, you know, number three, you want to look at your audience while you're talking. You know, just use kind of a pointer to emphasize, you know, things on your slide. So it's important that you're just not looking at your slide and reading off the slides. You know, you're talking to your audience. Photos, diagrams, you know, help with the description and talking points. You know, it's always more interesting with photos and images and graphics and whatever in there. So that always helps. Number five is more kind of for engineers, you know, tables and graphs. You not want to just show a bunch of data, which is kind of boring and you lose people. You just want to show trends. Like if my battery is better than the you know, commercial equipment, I might show a graph of discharge time, you know, versus capacity. And you know, you can see, you know, my battery, you know, holds its capacity a lot better over discharge time than the competitor, and you can kind of see that trend. And that's what you're doing with the graph rather than presenting data point by point.
Sure.
7, you admit, the needless stuff. 8, practice, 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 as Laura said, with yourself, your peers, your colleagues. Number 9 was helpful for me because just getting started, I would, with a title page, which only takes like 30 seconds or a minute, I would basically memorize what I'm going to say so that I could get up there and at least kind of get started. I knew I had that title page cold, I'd memorize it, I'd say my pitch, and then go on to the next one, and that would start the flow. But oftentimes just, getting started is tough. So just kind of memorize what you're going to say on the title page, and it goes from there. And 10, be ready for questions. The audience oftentimes will go into depth, and so, just know your stuff. And that's it. That's all I got.
Great.
All right, and I'm going to stop sharing.
So Jacob,
Yeah,
do
I
some of
can.
those things sound familiar?
Yes, they do. Yeah, so I know we don't have a ton of time left. I'm sharing my screen now. I'll just run through something that one of the presentations that we gave for the Epic Prize. This was a Department of Energy pitch competition that we won last summer.
Okay.
Sorry. There we go. So just as a rough draft for how we think about presentations is the first thing about a presentation is you're not telling anything but your story. That's really all that you're going after. We always start with a hook. So why should people keep listening to your presentation? That's really the first thing that you want to lead with. It can be part of your title slide. It could be a couple slides after. It really depends how much time that you have. And after that, you're going to get into what is your actual idea? What do you actually do? And really the point of this is within the first minute, people should understand what, like, who you are and what you're talking about, so that they're not like confused or lost after that.
Hey, can you give an example of one of your hooks?
Yes. So the hook that we've been using lately is that there's this secret in recycling, and it's that it doesn't work. All of the glass that we recycle has always ended up in the landfills, and that's because the glass is mixed with a bunch of paper, plastic, and metal, making it unusable for new bottles or anything else. And then we jump right into what this waste glass is that we're throwing out. So this kind of hooks people because most people think, oh, everything that I've put in the recycling bin is recycled. And I start with, that's not true. And
Right.
I kind of, I also give it in that sense of tone of very kind of like fast paced and like a little aggressive to kind of like rile it up a little bit.
Good points. Yeah.
Yeah. And then from there, we get into, right after they understand what you do, we should get into credibility. Why are you the person to advance this technology? Why are you the person that we should listen to and fund about this? It doesn't matter the chronological order at this point. This is kind of like your biggest win slide. This is like your brag slide, like how much money you've raised, what projects have you done, like what, any sort of traction that you have developing your idea should go right after this. Just kind of hook people in, like, you're somebody who's working on this. And then we start to get into the actual meat of the presentation. This changes depending on the rubric for what they're looking for, but this gets into like your background and different things that each presentation wants to do. This was Department of Energy, so they obviously care about energy. If it was an EPA grant, we'd probably talk more about environmental and carbon impact. We then get into market opportunities. If you'll notice, for market opportunities, we do talk about numbers for market opportunities. they're quite small. The thing that we've always done with all of our presentations is they're entirely picture based. Don't tell me about your customer, show me your customer. If you have the ability to show somebody, using your product or your product itself, or you even developing your product if you don't have somebody using it yet, that is a lot better than numbers on a screen because it tells a story. Going back to the story, we would use first names. This is Tim Rufo. He's a guy from Barney and Dickinson who uses our material. Our presentation would be the narrative of us working with Tim. We would describe our customer, how we met our customer, how we got to know them, how we started working with them, and what the status of it is. And kind of like putting a name to a face really helps people kind of become attached to the story that you're trying to tell. After you get through what the rubric is actually looking for, we would always go into the team, which again is a repeat of your traction or like what your team has accomplished. For us, that was how much money we've raised, just an introduction to us. And then the biggest thing that I see a lot of people don't do at competitions is what are you going to do with the money? How does this funding help you push your business forward? For this pitch, it was a 5-minute pitch. And they had a lot of things they wanted us to cram in, but I made sure to put a slide right at the end, which is like, with $100,000, this is what we're going to do with it. This is how it's going to help push claw industries forward. And that was what we did. For this particular presentation, we were going to buy a truck and a trailer with the money. We ended up winning, so we did that. But the joke I did at the end was if we won the competition, we would paint Department of Energy Office of Technology Transitions right on the side of the truck who is doing the competition, and they love that. The judges really got a kick out of that. So if you could find a way to creatively work something like that in, it really does help.
Right.
So that's kind of I know it was a little fast, but I know it's being recorded. This is how we kind of approach putting together presentations with even with limited time, which you can do. So I don't know if there's plans for any questions or anything like that, but
Well, I did put to the people attending, ask them if they wanted to ask any questions. Yeah, I'm just checking here. I don't see anything here at the moment.
if there's not, I dropped my email in the chat. Feel free to, anybody can email me after questions about our experience in the competition or how we present.
Yeah. No, I congratulate both of you as well as Laura. I mean, did a great job of summarizing some of the good points there. I recall, Stephen, you also had you brought samples to your presentation. It had us all with the light up I love New York. I still have one of yours on my kitchen counter. So
Yeah, I've done another generation of that. It's a lot thinner, but show and tell samples, if your business
Right.
lends itself to that, is great at these competitions, like if you're making candles or something, bring candles and hand them
Right.
out to the judges. It's a
right.
it's a fun way to do it. A little bit of sucking up, but it's fun.
Yeah. Jacob, I don't think you had claw t-shirts at the time of your presentation, but certainly you've gotten those around to a lot of people.
No, we didn't have them then, but yes, we do now.
Yeah, just for
Yeah,
claw, like
I
if
mean,
you
that's
could bring
brilliant.
little bricks of your cement, to hand out to people and the judges, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, all right, great. Well, I think we're over time, but I want to thank you both for your presentations, as well as Laura. I guess she had to leave us. And again, if people have any questions, of course, I will forward them to either one of you. Thank you again for joining us this evening. I want to thank all our sponsors. Our co-sponsor, M&T Bank, Saul Stearns, Binghamton Oneonta Building Trades Council, SUNY Broome Entrepreneurial Assistance Center that I know helped both of you guys a little bit. The Binghamton University Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation Partnerships, Freshie Website Design, Davidson Fox, Certified Public Accountants, 3i Graphics, Coughlin and Gerhardt, Attorneys and Counselors, the Greater Binghamton Chamber of Commerce, IdeaCraft, Digital Marketing Agency, Small Business Development Center at the Kauffman Incubator, and the Triple Cities Makerspace. So again, Jacob, Stephen, and Laura, thank you.
All right. Thanks, Joel.
Good night.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.